Hi, welcome back. Yeah, that was good. That was a good intro. Okay, so today I am going to be talking about the books that I read last fall, so fall of 2019, which actually just everything from like September to the end of the year. Um, and it's not a lot because I don't read that much. I think there's only like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 books on this list, but they were all pretty good, and I want to talk about them. So I will. This is fine. So the first book that I read in September was Talking as Fast as I Can by Lauren Graham. I listened to this on audiobook. I was at the airport, and Lauren Graham, in case you guys don't know, is she played Lorelai on Gilmore Girls, and this book is just about her experience both on Gilmore Girls and just in the industry being movies and TV. I hate myself already. It was a pretty easy read. Well, I listened to it, so it was very easy to listen to. She narrates her own audiobook, obviously, as most people who write memoirs do, and it was pretty good. I didn't love it though because, okay, here's my criticism, right? The book is called Talking as Fast as I Can. And let me tell you, as someone who's trying really hard right now to not speed up her words, Lauren Graham was not talking fast. Like, I played the book on double speed and it was still kind of slow. So I don't know. The reason I picked the book was because it was called Talking as Fast as I Can. And I thought, this will be fun. I will listen to someone like speed read, which she did not. She talked very slow and clearly. So if that is a concern for you about the audiobook, don't worry, or worry, depending on what you're looking for. The other thing though is that like she does put pictures in the book and I couldn't see them, but I personally did not care. Some people might. Anyways, yeah, those were my thoughts on Talking as Fast as I Can by Lauren Graham. Good book, just a lie. The next thing that I read was If Beale Street Could Talk by James Baldwin. And this is about what's her name? A 19-year-old girl named Tish who is pregnant and she wants to get married to her boyfriend Fonny, but he's falsely accused of a crime. And it's kind of a similar premise to To Kill a Mockingbird, but it takes very different turns. And also To Kill a Mockingbird is through the eyes of someone who's not being affected by the crime, right? And this is not that. Anyways, so I thought it was really good because I don't remember a lot about this book. That's not the fault of the book. That was more just this, like I was listening to it while I was also trying to study for exams and that kind of thing. But it was pretty good. I really liked the family dynamics between Tish and her family. I thought they were very supportive, very loving. They were like ride or die for each other. And I loved Tish and Fonny. When I first heard about the book and I heard that Tish was gonna be like young and pregnant, I thought it was gonna be this whole situation of her trying to navigate this on her own. But her relationship with her boyfriend is very, very sweet. And what they have to go through is horrible. Yeah, I recommend this book. I haven't read any other James Baldwin's books, so I can't compare it to that, but as its own thing, I thought it was cool. The next one I read was probably one of my favorites of last year, as was every single other book I've talked about. And this was The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. This is I guess like a science fiction fantasy about it's like a futuristic Earth in which there's like these massive catastrophes that happen that completely change like the course of humanity, and earthquakes and storms, that kind of thing. It's like apocalyptic events that are happening that have to do with the earth and weather and that kind of thing. And the book follows 3 different points of views. One of them is in second person point of view, so like she says, you did this and you did that. And I know that bothers a lot of people, but if you can get past that, I would highly recommend it just because the story is incredible, and I don't even think it was that hard to get past the second person point of view for one of the perspectives just because it was such a compelling story. It's the first one you start off with, and this is not spoilers because it happens in the first 5 minutes of the book, but basically this woman this woman comes home and she finds that her son has been murdered and her daughter is missing, and it's kind of her journey to try to find them or to find her daughter. And then there's 2 other perspectives that are also both pretty interesting. I think my favorite perspective actually happened to be the one about the woman whose daughter was missing. And yeah, and in this society, there's also people who have the power to control, like, energies and stuff, and a lot of times they are called upon when this, like, catastrophe is about to happen. I will be honest, I don't remember a lot of the plot points. I'm gonna have to go do a refresher, but I definitely think that this is a trilogy that I will continue with, which is high praise because I don't usually read past the first book in a series, or I haven't for a really long time. But I think this series I want to. That's not true. I've been reading the Dresden Files, which is like a 15-book series. But other than the Dresden Files, it's been a long time since I've like actively picked up the second book in a series. But I think it's gonna happen with this one. I feel good about it. I really just want to understand more of the world, and I think the writing was beautiful. What do I even say about this book? I don't know. It was good. I love how you like follow each of these different perspectives and you kind of see how they come together as the story progresses. You know, that's just a thing that I love in general. Like Station 11 did that really well. Other books that I can't think of right now did that really well. I just really love when they like focus on different characters and then you see like how they're all related. And this book did that incredibly. After that, I listened to Full Moon. Maybe should I have been telling you the narrators for these other ones? Because I listened to them all on audiobook, didn't I? I will look it up right now. Cause I'm bringing home a baby. Okay. Listen up, guys. Okay, for If Beale Street Could Talk, it was by James Baldwin and narrated by Bonnie Turpin. And for the 5th season, by N.K. Jemisin, it was narrated by Robin Miles. And Robin Miles also, I think, is a really good narrator. I don't know if that's the only thing that I've heard by her, but I just remember that I was like very gripped. So I think a lot of that was the writing and the story that N.K. Jemisin wrote. But then I think Robin Miles also did like a fantastic narration job. Highly recommend the audiobooks for this one. Okay, back to my fall wrap up. So then the 4th book that I listened to was Full Moon by Jim Butcher. It was narrated by James Marsters. And this is the 2nd book in the Dresden Files series. So Harry Dresden is like back and he's solving some magical crimes. And this time we get werewolves. But it's wild because it's not even just like one type of werewolves. You learn there's a lot of types of werewolves, like at least 4. And I don't remember them all, but I remember the word Loup-Garou, so I think that was a type of werewolf. I didn't love this one as much as Stormfront, just because it kind of felt a little formulaic, but to be fair, I maybe wasn't paying very close attention to this one, just because, like, again, I listen to a lot of audiobooks when I'm working, and sometimes things just slip past me, but I don't know, it did feel a little bit formulaic. That said, I think it was very exciting, and since then, I've read 2 more Dresden Files books, as you will see, and a lot of the characters from this have come up again. So, good book, and werewolves are cool, is what I learned from this book. Then, after this, I jumped straight into the 3rd Dresden Files book, which is Grave Peril by Jim Butcher, also narrated, again, by James Marsters. I love James Marsters so much. And this one so far, I guess not anymore because now I've read the 4th book, but out of the 3 that I had read at the time, this one was my favorite. And that is because there's a lot of different things. So first of all, the friendship between Harry and Michael, who was the other character that was helping him through most of this like mystery, it just kept me really invested, and the plot felt a little bit more high stakes. I think part of this reason is a big part of Grave Peril was the nightmare, and I get nightmares a lot, so I just felt a lot more distraught. And like the whole idea of it being able to come into your dreams and affect you, terrifying. I'm gonna put a spoiler alert in there in editing, don't worry. But yeah, I don't know. I think just like the whole thing with the nightmare and like the lore behind that was so stressful. Also, it's like I already have a hard time sleeping, and I didn't need that kind of stress in my life. But I got it, and I was okay with it because it was a good book. The last book that I have to talk about is Challenger Deep by Neal Shusterman, and this one is narrated by Michael Curindrosano. Yes, I got that perfectly. This is about a boy named Caden who is in high school, and actually I can't really say much about what this book is about because it's spoilies, but Caden is exploring he's on a ship thing. He's on a journey on a ship to go explore the Mariana Trench, and he's trying to balance this with his high school life. And it is spoilies, kind of, for concepts, but if you don't want any spoilers, click away. But then also, like, I don't know. The only thing really is you will be very confused if you start reading this book, because it is confusing. It took me a while to figure out what was going on, and I almost gave up on the book, but then I'm glad I didn't, because I think that the way that everything kind of comes together was very interesting. And that's all I'm gonna say about that book. I didn't even give spoilies. Good for me. Okay. Actually, no. Spoily. It is a really interesting exploration of mental illness. Okay, unspoily. Woo. Okay. Yeah, that's all I read in fall of 2019. That was like 5 months, and I read 6 books. I'm proud of myself. I was like kind of aiming for a book a month, so good for me. I have not been reading that much recently either, so I'm gonna have to find different content to put out, but maybe, I'm thinking, guys, maybe I'll make some stitching tutorials, because I, as someone who's been stitching for a total of 3 days, definitely should, as someone who's been stitching for a total of 3 days, I feel like I am definitely qualified to be making cross-stitching tutorials already, so maybe I'll do that. Anyways, I hope everyone is doing well, and bye.